The purpose of this activity called Big Promise, Little Promise is to teach your kids that all promises are important to God. Your kids are going to listen to a list of promises. Then they're going to come up with a motion for whether they think it's a little promise or a big promise. After you've read all of the promises from your help sheet, if you wish to extend the activity, let the kids come up with promises on their own and continue playing. You're going to close the activity by explaining that there are no little promises because all promises are important to God. For this activity, all you'll need is your help sheet, and do the activity something like this. All right, guys, today we're talking about faithfulness, doing what we say we will do. Sometimes when we talk about doing what we say we will do, we call those promises, okay? If I promise to do something, it means I'm going to do what I said, all right? Now, oftentimes in life, we'll think of things or something we say we're going to do as a big promise or maybe a little promise. So stand up. I'm going to read some sentences to you. If you think that the sentence or the promise that I read is a big promise, I want you to come over here to this side of the room and put your arms wide out, okay? If you think it's a little promise, come over to this side of the room and put your hands like this, like just a little tiny promise, okay? All right, it's up to you guys. Now, it doesn't matter, everybody doesn't have to go to one side or the other. You guys each choose on your own. All right, Joe promised his mom he would walk the dog. Said he was going to walk his dog. Will he do it or not? Is that a big promise or a little promise? All of you say little promise. Okay, here's another one. Harriet promised her dad, don't stop, keep them up there if you're on the side of the room. Harriet promised her dad that she would do her homework before watching TV. Big promise, little promise? Okay. Jesus promised to always be with us. Okay, we say that's a big promise. David promised to fight Goliath. Big promise or little promise? Okay. Barry promised to help his sister with her homework. Big promise or little promise? Everybody says little promise. Okay. Read through your sentences and then close the activity, something like this. All right, you guys come on over here and sit down. Now, the things that I read, you guys decided that some were big promises, some were small promises. Okay. Why do you think some were small promises?
Maybe the consequences wouldn't be as bad if you didn't do it.
You just didn't think it was that important.
Yeah, right.
Okay. What would make something seem like a big promise?
It wasn't really important if it happened or not.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, you know what? What's interesting is that the Bible says that there really are no big promises or little promises. The Bible says that when we say we're going to do something, we should do it. It doesn't say, well, if it's a big promise, you should always do it. If it's a little promise, it's okay if you don't do it. God looks at when we say we're going to do something, we need to do it. And everything is the same, okay? So we need to remember that because sometimes we'll go, well, that's not that big a deal. I said I would do it, but nobody's really going to care if I do it or not. Well, God does. There are no big promises or little promises. All promises are the same in God's eyes, okay? So faithfulness means to do what we say we're going to do. We do that by keeping our promises.